May I come in, sir? Yes, sir.
Since how long have you been living in Hyderabad?
Sir, I came to Hyderabad when I was about 6 to 7 months old. So from 1999, I've been in Hyderabad only, sir.
What was the career of your father? What was he doing?
So my father worked as the head manager of a restaurant in Hyderabad since the year 1992. He's retired now, and yes, sir.
Restaurant?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I mean the same restaurant or different restaurant?
The same restaurant, sir. From the hotel opened in 1992. Since the time the restaurant opened till the time it was closed in the year 2020, he itself was the manager of the restaurant, sir. Woodland Deluxe Restaurant, sir, in Hyderabad.
Why was it closed?
So the restaurant was supposed to close in 2023, sir, as per the agreement, but due to the COVID pandemic, and that was one of the prime reasons why the. Sorry, sir.
Meant to be closed. I thought it's an ongoing business. Or
So there were certain issues with the agreement, also with the building owner and all. So there were certain issues. The owner of the building had passed away during COVID, and there were certain issues with the son of the owner, and then so the agreement could not continue, and it got closed in the year 2020.
your father was the owner or something like that?
No, sir. He was just the manager of the restaurant.
Normally, if I have a restaurant, I or my son or somebody would continue in a different building.
Sir, he's already 57, and we really wanted him to take a break, and that's why, also considering I have seen him working, sir, and how much stress he goes through. For the world, when Saturday, Sundays are holidays, they were the most busiest days for him. So we wanted him to take a break, and we just suggested him to lead a happy retired life. So that is why he got discontinued, sir.
Okay, good. So you studied commerce
Yes.
in some Aurora College.
Yes.
And after that, what have you done?
Sir, I graduated in the year 2020. Since then, I've been preparing for the exams.
Okay, very good. Yeah.
Nidhi, today I'm sure you must have read today's newspaper.
Yes.
So today is a tourism day,
Okay.
right? Did it catch your attention?
So I read a newspaper today, sir, the Hindu, but I did not find any reference to the tourist day.
So what is the theme tourism 2022?
No, sir, I am not aware of that.
Now, how is the overall hospitality industry doing in our country? Any idea? Since you come from a family very
Yes.
yeah. Any insights you have about the hospitality industry in the country?
So the hospitality sector has been doing fairly well in India, sir. But during the COVID pandemic, sir, especially considering that these sectors are contact-based sectors, they were one of the most badly affected sectors during the COVID pandemic, sir. Also, when we saw that the lockdown, when it was opened, also there were certain restriction with regard to seating and other measures that had to be taken up by the hotel industry. So yes, sir, during COVID pandemic, I believe hospitality was one of the largest impacted sectors. But nevertheless, sir, this sector has been recovering since the past one and a half year now, and it has been on track now, sir.
Any idea about its contribution to GDP and stuff?
I'm aware of the contribution of service sector, sir, but hospitality specifically, maybe I will not be able to point the numbers.
Job did not inspire you to taking up hospitality as a profession, as one of the choices, career choices.
Yes.
Commerce, and then probably it would have been more complementary, isn't it?
Yes, sir. But joining the civil services has been my childhood dream, and I've always communicated this to my family. and they were the ones who were the most supportive ones in this journey. So I never was asked my father or any of my relatives to join the business industry or so. Even in case of my elder sister, she did not choose this line. So I think we were given the option to choose our passions, and considering my interest in the civil services, I was encouraged to join in this.
Coming as you do from with this kind of a background, what challenges have you seen in hospitality industry, particularly on the food and restaurant side? What to you to discuss this with your father?
Yes, sir, there are a few couple of challenges. For example, there are a lot of formalities, sir, in different sectors that have to be taken, a lot of permission. So there is no one website or one way in which all the permissions can be granted at once. So every year I've seen him running across different offices to get permissions from different areas. This is one, sir. Secondly, sir, in the hotel industry, the labor is becoming a concern now, sir, to get the workers. Workers are not willing to take up employment in these hotel sectors. Rather, at one point of time, a lot of people would come, but nowadays they are not willing to join the hotel or the hospitality sector, sir. So these two are the broad issues I've heard from my father, sir.
Now, you also mentioned about impact of pandemic on hospitality industry, particularly the restaurants. And incidentally, you were also a leader in vaccination awareness.
Yes.
It's one of the things that you mentioned as the positions that you held. Okay. Now, during that activity, what is that you found? And we generally see from newspapers that there was also some kind of resistance and apprehension on the part of certain sections of society. How did you overcome that?
So the lack of awareness is one of the reasons why people choose not to come forward to take vaccination. In this case, I would believe communication is the first thing that has to come in. Also, sir, it is not just common people who can communicate. I think we need to bring in experts, doctors, who can properly, professionally explain to them why certain vaccines are important, how it is going to contribute towards the health of their children or people in general, and how, in case if they are not vaccinated, what side effects they can have in the future. So I think bringing in experts, doctors is one of the first problems, things we had to take up, sir. Because initially when we were trying to communicate with them, we could not cater to the actual needs. But when a doctor had come in, they sounded more professional, they could better explain it to them. So that was one of the problems, sir, but we later did bring certain doctors and professionals to explain the issues to them.
In retrospect, if you catch up with one of those things which is now viral on social media, the journalist, questioning the Pfizer CEO.
Yes.
He was evasive about its efficacy.
Yes.
So, in a sense, he actually confirmed, many of the apprehensions and doubts about the efficacy of vaccine. So, which means the people were right.
So that is with regard to one vaccine, but we have had a couple of other vaccines as well, whose efficacy has been proved to be very high and proved to be very effective. So in that case, I think in India, especially with regard to the COVID vaccination, we had an option of multiple vaccines. So in that case, I think people have the choice to read about the efficacy of different vaccines and then make an informed decision in that matter.
You studied anthropology for this exam.
Yes.
Good. I'm sure you must have also studied about denotified tribes.
Yes.
Who are these denotified tribes, and are there any initiatives from the side of the government in this regard?
Sir, denotified and the nomadic tribes, sir, at one point of time were considered criminal tribes. Then they were later renamed
Criminal tribes.
the British government, sir. But in the year 1952, considering that this was a stigma against them, a committee was set up and the committee recommended that these tribes be named as denotified tribes. Now, sir, the government has several initiatives for the tribal development in such, sir. For example, there are Ekalavya model residential schools. In Telangana also there are tribal educational residential schools where the children can come, live, read. In fact, they have been quite successful because a lot of students have been succeeding in all India examinations. A lot of help and support is also given in form of health issues. They have been educated, whether it is related to vaccine or availability of health services. Also, the government has been taking up several initiatives.
Initiative of the government of India in this regard. Program.
Sorry, sir.
Have you heard about SEED program? SEED is an acronym. SEED.
No, sir, I have not heard.
Now, finally, you must have also come across, this Vinita Phogat controversy about, wrestling and sexual harassment of women at workplace.
Yes.
What is all that about? And is really, sports as a human activity is out of bounds for women, is not safe, or what are the measures, or is it government mere bystander and looking at it and not doing anything? Are you aware of any of the measures taken to prevent this kind of untoward activities?
So it is extremely unfortunate that the women players have had to face this kind of issues, especially the bright sports women of our country. Yes, sir, a committee has been formed in this regard to look at the sexual harassment case in the Wrestling Federation of India. And in case of this, sir, we also have a law in India, sir, Prevention of Sexual Harassment at Workplace Act 2013. But sir, I do not believe that the government is a bystander in this regard, sir, because immediately after this case came into limelight, a committee has been set up to look into this issue. And hopefully, sir, the committee is going to properly investigate this and come up with a report. Till then, we will have to see how the entire issue unfolds.
Have you heard of internal complaints committees?
Yes, sir.
Where are they set up, and is it mandatory?
Sir, in companies where there are more than 10 female employees, sir, it is important to have a sexual harassment committee in the company, sir. This is also a part of the Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act 2013. So,
Ms. Nidhi,
yes, sir.
tomorrow is Republic Day.
Yes, sir.
What is special about tomorrow's Republic Day?
Sir, specifically with regard to tomorrow, sir, we are having the head of Egypt coming to India, sir, to watch the Republic Day parade in Delhi. So that is the speciality of tomorrow, sir, and also every year we have the Republic Day parade. So I think that is the most special feature of our Republic Day celebrations in India.
Here we invite one guest from outside country.
Yes, sir.
But this year, what is the specialty of what? You have come across it.
Sir, we are going to have a all-women command in the parade, sir. That is what I've heard. The speciality of this year's Republic Day parade.
One Navy officer is leading the Navy parade.
Okay, sir.
That is one. And all the machinery being used which are India made.
Okay, sir.
So like that, some specialties are there.
Yes.
What is in directive principles, scientific temper is forming part. So what is the level of scientific temper in India?
Yes, sir. The fundamental duties also ask people to develop fundamental scientific temper in India, sir. But if we look at the scope of scientific temper in India, sir, we see scientifically we've been doing well in certain sector in terms of innovation and all. But at the same time, sir, we are also having a lot of superstitions or beliefs among a lot of sections in the society. So somewhere, sir, we are in the midst of both the extremes, which is a scientifically advanced society and also a society which is ridden with the superstitions and all. So we have not been able to develop scientific temper in all the sections, but certainly, sir, through the form of various laws and all, we have been making efforts. For example, in Assam, we had the witch hunting prohibition act. So in that way, I think we have been taking steps forward, sir, to develop scientific temper in India.
When we start constructing more and more temples, are we not driving the people towards blind belief and dogmas instead of leading them to scientific temper?
So I'd like to slightly beg to differ with you on this point, sir. I believe we live in a country, sir, where religion and science coexist, in a world where religion and science coexist. And till now, science has not been able to give us all the answers, sir. And until then, we cannot say that there is anything wrong with religion or religion is unscientific in that matter. So I believe, sir, balance between both has to carry forward. And in terms of building temples, sir, I think religion has a very specific importance in the mind of people and Indians specifically. So our spiritual inclination is also very strong in that aspect. So in my opinion, sir, temples do not harm the scientific temper of our country in any way.
Okay. So, what is the collegium dispute?
Yes, sir. We have been seeing a issue between the executive and judiciary coming in, sir, wherein we have been having tiffs between them regarding to the efficacy of the collegium system. The executive has been claiming, sir, that we need a more reformed collegium, or in fact we need to do away with the system of collegium in India considering its lack of transparency. But at the same time, sir, the judiciary has been very specific that it does not want any kind of executive interference. One of the reasons why the National Judicial Appointments Committee was struck down by the Supreme Court. However, sir, since the one and a half month, we have been seeing a continuous tiff between both these bodies. And in my opinion, sir, I think rather than making this an entire big political issue, all the stakeholders need to come forward, acknowledge the negatives and positives of both the system, and come out with a refined system, sir, because at the end of the day, the healthy functioning of the executive and the judiciary is extremely important for India's functioning, sir.
So, you mean to say that law minister is correct in his way, saying that nepotism is prevailing in the collegium by selecting the judges at the
Sir, as far as the appointment of judges is concerned in the collegium, so it's a very closed system and we do not know what actually happens in the election of the judges process, sir. Also, there is no transparency in this particular thing. So, to clearly, sir, distinctively say that there is nepotism in this system would, I think, in my opinion, be wrong, sir, because we are not yet clear as to how the entire system of appointment works. But certainly, sir, there is no doubt in saying that we do need reforms in the collegium system. And for this, sir, all stakeholders have to come forward, discuss, and then take an informed decision in this aspect.
If the executive, what the law minister wants is that some of the representatives from the government should be present in the collegium.
Yes, sir.
If that is present, if that is there, independence of the judiciary is not lost.
Sir, if you look at the yes, sir. Certainly, sir, we do need the independence of judiciary. But when we look at when we saw the construction of the National Judicial Appointments Committee, sir, 3 of the members represented the judiciary, and we had other 3 members who had come from different walks of life. One person also was from the executive, sir. So the balance is not completely in the favor of executive. Rather, we have a balance between both the bodies in this system, sir. So in this way, I think it would be wrong to say that the executive is going to completely take over the judicial system. If we have a balance of representation from all the sides, then I think the appointment of judges can become more clear and more transparent.
If representatives from the executive are present,
Yes.
will the judgments in future judgments will be biased somehow towards political process?
I would say no, sir, because when it comes to appointment of judges, we are going to have 3 judges from the judiciary and few from the executive. So when we appoint a judge, it is going to be a collective decision of all these members. And in this case, sir, the decision of executive will not be given a higher importance than judiciary. Both of them will have equal importance. And in this case, I would consider that the appointed judge will be unbiased in giving his decisions, sir.
Okay. So, what is the advantage of India become the number one in population when compared to China?
Yes. Sir, India has the advantage of demographic dividend now, sir, till the year 2047. And if we are able to skill them, sir, efficiently, then this labor can become not only a dividend for India, but dividend for the world, sir. We can provide labor not just to India, but the other countries like Japan and all, where we have been seeing a decline in population.
Can India manage that demographic dividend successfully with so much population and limited resources, and at this present level of unemployment, poverty, keeping all this in view, can we really tap the demographic dividend?
Certainly, sir, because now if you look at the numbers, only 4 or 5% according to the India Skills Report is fully skilled in India, and we have a mix of most of semi-skilled and unskilled workers. But if you look at the various government policies, sir, like the skill development program, we have been taking efforts to skill these workers, sir. And if we will have to streamline and strengthen and fasten this process so that in a few years we will have these numbers increased. And in this way, sir, I believe in a few years we will able to provide skill employment to the world, sir.
When China was number one, whether it has succeeded in tapping the demographic dividend?
To a very large extent, yes, sir, because if you look at the growth indicators of China, its position in GDP, its growth rates, sir, I think that is primarily because of the employment and the labor in that particular country. So in that way, sir, I believe India can also emulate what China has done.
In China academic system, they provide many of the essential things like education, health and all, and PDS system, all are working well. So the labor needs only basic salary. All other facilities are taken care by the government. Even travel and transport and holiday, all these were taken care by the government. Yes. And labor was given only minimum salary. Unless you follow this system, is it so easy to tap the demographic dividend?
So if you look at the system in India, sir, we are a welfare nation and we provide free health services to people in the form of government hospitals. Also of late we have been seeing rising adoption of public schools, sir, by parents. They have been sending their students to government schools. If you look at the Delhi education model, the government schools have been doing extremely well. And in terms of food security, sir, we have different laws. So we do have laws to take care of the social security needs of individuals, sir. But certainly this journey will not be easy. It is going to be a difficult one, and we need to fast track the way in which we provide the services to the people so that they can focus on skilling themselves and being an efficient labor for India.
Nidhi, yes. I'm sure you're following Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Yatra.
Yes, sir.
How do you read the journey so far? Does it connect to the young political
Yes.
Or is there any purpose in what we do? How do you read,
So through the Bharat Jodo Yatra, sir, he is trying to bring in the opposition parties together and trying to form a strong opposition against the central ruling party now. In that aspect, sir, he has been trying to cater to the different sections, whether it is related to the agricultural farmer sector, the youth of this nation, the unemployed people. So in this entire journey, he's been trying to take up issues which are a problem that are currently existing in India.
if you look at, he has not been going to any of the states where there are elections. He has not been participating there.
Yes, sir.
So he's mostly connecting with youth, people, and raising issues on them.
Yes, sir.
So that way, political target doesn't seem to be actively in his itinerary.
Yes, sir, that is true that he has not been going to the states where elections are yet to be there. But he's been taking this journey in other states, sir. Probably the journey has not ended it yet, sir, for him. So we probably can expect him to visit other states which he has not till now visited as well. But certainly, sir, he's making an attempt at bringing people together. So I think we will have to appreciate him for that effort.
Padayatras, such exercises really help their political career. Do you have any examples where Padayatras have been taken up for you?
So before independence, we did have Mahatma Gandhi taking up such.
Recent, that was a cause, but now more of recent years.
Sir, I believe the Chief Minister of Telangana, Sir K. Chandrasekhar Rao, during the formation of before the formation of the Telangana state, also had took up.
He doesn't walk much, he talks.
He did fast and to death.
Fast. Okay. Anyway, coming to Hyderabad, 2022, one of the biggest news that generated from here is something connected with space. There are two startups in space which made big news. Are you aware of what they did?
I will have to read on that side.
A company called Skyroot Aerospace or Dhruva Aerospace.
I've heard about these things, sir, but I've never, I did not read much in depth on that, so I think I will have to go and read on these issues.
You are also, I think, keen on mindfulness and meditation.
Yes.
And what is the difference between mindfulness and thoughtfulness? Look very big to me, very depth. Do you practice any of this mindfulness?
I practice mindfulness meditation, sir. Sir, mindfulness means being present and alert in the moment, sir. And taking this as an essential component, we start meditation. And meditation for me, sir, is mind without agitation, where we are rid of all the thoughts and able to focus on one particular issue. And when we have a free and calm mind away from all the issues, it gives us the ability to focus specifically on one thing, which is mindfulness, sir. So in that aspect, I do follow mindfulness meditation, and somewhere, so that reflects also in my day-to-day activities. For example, now if I am sitting in this interview, so I am just focused in what I am speaking and in the interview process, not bothered about the other issues that are there in my life. So it also has a positive impact in my life also, sir.
Only on this room and this area, or international affairs, everything also comes in.
Yes, sir. Sir, my
Suddenly there is a big noise outside. There is an accident.
sir, now that
Don't get impacted.
the outside noises, no, sir. My focus now is only on the questions and the answers I am going to give for the interview, sir. So that, in my opinion, is mindfulness.
And also, Hyderabad, somehow has become a center for this kind of activities and the youth facility.
Yes.
Are you aware of it?
Uh,
One of the largest centers for meditation has been built.
we have the Buddha Vanam, sir, wherein a lot of meditation exercises are taken up. So that is one. Yes, the Sri Ramachandra Mission, an organization which tries to promote meditation and try to better connect with the message of the yogis and gurus. The headquarters being in Chennai, sir, if I'm not mistaken. We also have their branches.
Created a specific
Okay.
It's very unique.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Finally, you also play badminton. Now, tell me, Hyderabad has become the hub for badminton, especially women.
Yes.
How do you look at this phenomenon? 1, 2, 3 reasons why this is happening.
So the culture of badminton was not very prevalent in India, sir. If we look at the last in the later half of the 20th century, but in the year 1980, sir, we had Prakash Padukone win the All England Badmintonship, and later, so in the year 2001, when Pullela Gopichand won the All England Badminton Championship, and later set up the Pullela Gopichand Academy in Hyderabad. That is where, sir, the interest for badminton, in my opinion, started in India, where he started. Yes, sir.
So badminton has been there in 1950s. We had Nandina Taker. There are many players to play.
Yes,
Victory came only perhaps in the 80s.
Sir, but
specifically Hyderabad.
Sir, but as per my reading on this issue is concerned, sir, the interest and the energy for the sport came in only after looking at Pullela Gopichand and his academy. Then later, a lot of students coming out of his academy, like Saina Nehwal, PV Sindhu coming in, them succeeding in a lot of tournaments. From that is where badminton picked up in Hyderabad, sir.
I think there is excess concentration of badminton in Hyderabad now. Other cities seem to have lost out, and everything is in Hyderabad. Is it a good model for sports? Like even Bangalore seems to have lost out, the names you mentioned.
Yes, sir. It is true, sir, that Hyderabad has kind of become an epicenter for badminton. But we have been having players from other parts of India, like we had Lakshya Sen from Bangalore, so he was a student of Prakash Padukone, recently emerged on the scene. But I would say, sir, the concentration of one sport in one state probably is not the right way. Students should be encouraged from all the states to come in and take up sports. But at the same time, sir, I also believe that when one state takes up responsibility for one sport, like for example, Odisha government had taken up hockey to promote hockey as one of its initiatives. Recently, sir, the Uttar Pradesh government has taken the responsibility for wrestling. So in this way, sir, if each state takes up one particular sport and funds it and takes the responsibility to promote it, that I think, in my opinion, can be a great initiative for the sport culture in India.
What is the problem with Lakshya Sen? Recently landed in controversy.
Controversy I am not aware of, so I will have to read.
NIDHI,
Yes, sir.
you are from Karnataka state.
Yes, sir.
Are you in touch with your Karnataka state or just you forgot?
No, sir. All of my relatives stay in Karnataka, and I certainly visit the state twice or thrice in a year for sure for all my festivals and functions.
Okay, now Karnataka is now going for the polls very shortly.
Yes, sir.
And both the parties which are now contenders for the next two government, they are vying with each other for giving cash incentives for women. Are aware of the schemes started by both the parties? Party in the power now and the party which was there earlier in power. Both are now trying to do the women voters with the cash incentives. Are you aware of this programs?
Program I am not aware of, sir, cash incentives, but I'll read on that, sir.
Okay, now the government promised 3,000 rupees for women.
Okay, sir.
And the other party called Na Nayaki,
So another slogan was given by one party. Now promising 2,000 rupees and the 200 units of electricity power. Now, according to you, is it the main issue in Karnataka, or do you find any other issues which are very, very essential as a citizen? Now tell us whether giving cash awards to women is the priority or anything else.
Sir, giving cash incentives to people is a very short term idea, sir, in order to increase the vote share. In fact, the issue lies much deeper, sir. For example, in case of if we want to really empower women, it is much more than cash incentives. In fact, we can work on education, the various health indicators in women in Karnataka, especially if we look at the Hyderabad Karnataka region, sir, which is Kalburgi, Ballari and all. The situation of women is extremely worse, sir. If you look at Kalburgi, the maternal mortality rate is very bad. So in this aspect, sir, I would say rather than just giving cash incentives and taking this shortcut, we would rather like to have proper schemes being designed and efficient targeting of beneficiaries, constructing of hospitals, trying to understand the actual reason why this is happening, and working of these issues would lead to actual empowerment of women in the long run, sir, rather than just giving these short-term cash incentives.
Looking at the government, there is a lot of talk on the 40%. You heard that?
40%.
40% in contracts. So
Yes,
corruption,
yes,
corruption
yes.
is in every side.
Yes, sir.
Now, what is your view? Why this is so prevalent and so talked about in Karnataka?
Yes, sir. It is being said that in all the government contracts, 40% of this contracts is given to the amount is given as a bribe to the political functionary in that area, so the MLAs. In fact, all the contractors had come together, sir, and written a letter to the Prime Minister last year, flagging this particular issue. It is extremely unfortunate, sir, that we have such a scenario in India. But the Prime Minister also promised that he will look into this particular aspect. And hopefully, sir, I think if people can genuinely come forward and flag these issues in open, then we will have more media coverage and better addressing of these issues.
Recently, there was a Supreme Court judgment. It went into 4:1.
Yes, sir.
Can you name this judgment?
So
The issue related to this.
the demonetization judgment, sir, of the Supreme Court.
So, what is your view on this particular issue?
Sir, the issue was whether regarding demonetization was taken up in the right spirit, or was the government legal in doing so. And based on the 4 judges, what they have said, sir, it is said that the government was in talks with the RBI for about 6 months before this exercise was taken up, and the intention of the government in this particular action was right. Though, sir, there are debates on whether this issue was the process of demonetization was a complete hit or a flop in India.
The differing judge.
Yes, sir. So the differing judge's opinion was, sir, that in order to take up the demonetization exercise, either a gazette notification had to be introduced or the legislation path should have been taken up, which was not done by the government. Secondly, sir, she also said that though it was an initiation taken with good intention, it caused a lot of agony for the people, sir. So that also was one of the reasons cited by the dissenting judge, B.V. Nagaratna.
The 2 different views of the judges.
Yes, sir.
Whom are you going to support?
So I think I'm going to support the 4 judges, so the majority judgment in this case. So as far as the exercise of demonetization is concerned, sir, I would not say that it is a full success. But at the same time, sir, I would also like to say that the intention of the government was good in this aspect, sir, which is either relating to terror financing, money laundering. In fact, one of the objectives, which was to promote digital payment ecosystem in India, has been a very big hit, sir. We've been seeing a digital payment revolution in the country from.
Mr. Rajan, when he was the governor, he initiated that is the dividend is going to be. That is not a issue. Now, actually, the objectives with which it was introduced, do you think they were fulfilled? every rupee came back,
Yes, sir.
and there is no black money was unearthed.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so and putting almost 85% of the money, making it invalid with a stroke of that thing,
Yes.
not giving any scope for the people to just adjust to these things. Do you think the steps taken by the government or the judgment given the four members will it go in the right perspective of the democratic spirit?
Yes, sir, the program was not a complete success, but at the same time, sir, I would say that the intention of the government in this scheme was right.
That was taken 6 years ago.
Yes, sir.
Doesn't mean that the steps taken by the government can be validated.
Yes, sir.
Now, see, the lady judge gave an excellent insight into that.
Yes, sir.
And apart from the judgment, whether you like the lady or the four members, it's not my concern. But she remarked one thing at the end of the judgment. Are you aware of this particular remark given by lady judge? Talks about the independence, how independence should be employed. It is applicable to the bureaucrats also. So that's the reason I want to know whether you are aware of it. The remark given by Mrs. Arvind.
Sir, I am aware of only the two remarks, sir. One is the legislature or the gazette notification route and the intent. Yes, sir.
I'm talking about something ethical aspect she talked about.
I cannot recollect what she said.
Of course, independence. Okay. Now let's move on to you are a student of commerce.
Yes.
And we have been implementing GST in our state, in our country. Now tell us, there is a talk by what you said about the Jodo Yatra. He's talking about Galat GST. When he started GST, Galat GST. Do you mean to say that GST, the introduction of GST and the present form of GST, the implementation of GST, is it faulty?
So I would not say it is faulty, sir. Because if we look at the indirect tax regime, sir, we had a lot of indirect taxes, and through the process of GST, we have tried to make the entire process more simplified and more unified. And in this case, sir, the opinion of all the states was also considered. But certainly, sir, so it would be right to say that the GST is not a perfect system yet, sir. We have a lot of reforms that need to be brought in the GST, but the idea of GST was to simplify the indirect tax regime, and also of late we have been seeing that the revenues from GST has been only rising in the last few months. So in that aspect, I would say GST was a good system for our country.
Revenues means you are bringing so many projects and increasing the taxes.
Yes.
Now that's not the criteria.
Yes.
Whenever we want to create a design for implementation of the taxation, don't you think that the entire mechanism should be ready before we implement this? Do you think that the entire mechanism is put ready for implementation of GST in India?
While the system was introduced, sir, the mechanisms were all not ready, but slowly. Yes, sir. For example, sir, firstly, there are a lot of glitches with the GST portal and the efficient functioning of the GST machinery. Secondly, sir, the process was simplification, but we ended up with 5 tax rates, which again is a lot of numbers. We need to reduce it down. Thirdly, sir, also the issues with the states, sir, with regard to loss of revenue. Fourthly, sir, that we do not have electricity, petroleum products, and a lot of other products into the net of GST as of now yet. And
you got a name called NIDHI PAI.
Yes.
What is this PAI? What does it mean?
So PAI comes from Sanskrit word Pati, sir, which means God. Now this surname is prevalent among the Gaud Saraswat communities who speak Konkani and who are residing mostly in the western coastal part of Karnataka, Maharashtra, Goa and Kerala. So this surname can be seen among the Gaud Saraswat communities.
Now when we compare the 4 states, major 4 states in southern India, Kerala and Karnataka, they go in one way. And Karnataka and Andhra, they go in another way. What I observe is that the surnames, what you said now, you don't find the same name as far as the Keralians or the Tamilians are concerned. Father's name becomes surname. Like that, that's the system in Tamilians.
Yes, sir.
Whereas Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh, we find Not only the surname, the caste name is also added to the name.
Yes.
As a student of maybe anthropology or sociology, you can throw some light on this thing.
Yes, sir. The particular, generally, sir, we have the family name associated with the members of the family. So in that in one way also represents or shows the caste of the person he or she comes from. So we have this culture in, as you mentioned, sir, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana primarily. With regard to the states of Maharashtra and the Konkani community which I come from, sir, we generally have the surname of the community, but either way, so it represents the community, the caste of the individuals that they come from. Yes, if
You see, there is a saying by Shakespeare, what is in a name?
yes,
But definitely there is something in the name.
yes,
Because the name is a very unique thing. In such a unique name like NIDHI, or like say any person's name, if you add the caste or surname, don't you think that you are bringing something which is driving people away in a diversified country like India? When you want to proclaim yourself that belong to a particular reason, particular caste like that, don't you think that you are bringing some sort of aversion towards the person himself?
sir, I'd like to slightly beg to differ on this point, sir. If I am given an option, sir, till the end of my life, I would want to be recognized as Nidhi Pai itself, because my surname just does not show the caste or the community I come from, sir. It shows the language I have spoken all my life, the area I have been brought up in, the kind of culture I have followed, the traditions I have followed, and in whole the culture I have been brought up in, sir. So the surname represents much more than caste, and it is part of one's upbringing and one's way of looking at life, sir. So
Surname. Surname is one. I'm talking about the caste name also stuck with the name itself.
yes.
Now, do you think that it goes well in a democratic country like India, where you want to bring a type of unity among the people? So, is it not? Don't you think it is high time that we must drop these things in the proper names?
So in this aspect, sir, I would think it is wrong if I give a generalistic statement. Whether one individual wants to join his surname or caste name to his name is one's personal choice entirely, and no one other than that particular individual has the say in whether he or she wants to have that name.
In your neighboring state like that, recent and government order that the surnames or the caste names which are there in the names, they should be struck down as per the textbooks are concerned. Are you aware of this order given by Tamil Nadu?
No, sir, I am not aware of this, but
Finally, Nidhi,
yes.
you are an expert in writing essays. So, what is the topic you wrote and got the prize?
So there was not one topic we wrote essay on, sir. In fact, this competition went on for about a month, and every week we would write essays on particular topic. And based on the cumulative grading that we were given for all the essays, a winner was decided, sir. I have written essays on a wide variety of topics, sir. One of the topics was Matrudevo Bhava, Pitradevo Bhava, Guru Devo Bhava. Then I have also written how I would like to see India in the 75th year of independence, and also one essay on period poverty, sir. So a collection of essays.
The UPSC has UPSC reintroduced essay in the civil services.
Yes, sir.
Earlier it was there up to 1979, then it's discontinued. Again, it was introduced. And of course, some modifications are there after. Now tell me, why this is being reintroduced?
Sir, when we look at the other papers of general studies, sir, these are mostly specific study related, sir, whether it is economy, agriculture and all, and these are very analytical issues. But when we look at an essay, sir, one individual can have a completely different interpretation of one line, and I can have a complete different interpretation of that line. And one person can look at one topic in several different dimensions, sir. So in that way, when a person writes an essay, we can see how wide the scope of thinking of that individual is, how the person thinks, how the person chooses to look at one particular issue. So in that way, sir, an essay is a window to how a person thinks, and that I think is one of the important, crucial elements.
From academic essays, UPSC essay, academic essays.
Yes.
So do you find any difference between these two?
Yes, sir. Academic essays are written on one particular issue. So, for example, agriculture is given a topic. Wherein, if we look at essays in UPSC, sir, we have a mix of options between philosophy.
Something from the candidate. That's why this was being introduced.
Yes, sir.
Now, what exactly the UPSC is expecting from the candidate?
The essay, the UPSC tries to look at the scope of thinking, how wide a person thinks, his or her opinion on one particular issue. Sir. Thank you, sir.
Good. We have taken a lot more than what normally the UPSC takes to assess the personality test. We have taken 50 minutes. Actually, they do it in about 25 minutes.
Yes.
So, is this the first time you'll be facing the UPSC or?
Second time, sir.
Second time. So, when was the previous one? 2020?
Twice to UPSC?
This is my third attempt and second interview, sir. Last year I gave it in 2021.
No. Attempts are 3, but interview
Personality
is
test,
second time.
reaching up to the.
I think DAP also.
Attempts 3, she is saying.
No, second interview.
That's all.
Okay.
So, this is the second time you'll be facing. You
Yes.
already faced one.
Yes, sir.
That was last year, about
Yes.
12 months ago. When is the interview this time?
February 14, sir.
Last time?
April 12, sir.
Do you normally wear these saris? Are you comfortable?
Yes, I am comfortable. Yes.
Just a second. You can see here in October 21, whether appeared at interview, yes. Then January 22, that is, you appeared at the interview, yes. 2 times SSK.
So I think October is prelims, sir, not interview. October 21 we had prelims.
3 columns here. No, it is to again be aware.
Okay.
Okay, here whether you appeared at the exam, yes. Appeared at the interview, yes. Twice you wrote yes.
21 attempt I.
It's written yes, October 21. And it's January 22. Again, you appeared at the interview, yes. Civil service main, civil service main.
No, is it appearing at the exam or interview?
Interview, sir. Call me there.
But interviews are never held in January.
So that was
October interview, how can there be an interview in October? October, invariably, you will have your mains exam.
we had our prelims last year in October, so COVID.
That was the
Because of
days.
COVID, yeah.
So, then please check out. It's not to whether you went twice or twice, that's not issue.
Yes.
But the columns, whether you're correctly filled or not, because there is some liquid in that.
Okay, sir.
Anyway, she can rectify it, I don't think. Anyway, bygones are bygones.
Yeah,
So,
suppose if she's asked her, sir, she can tell.
yeah.
Yeah, that's some small mistake.
Not a fatal mistake, anyhow. Don't worry.
Prelim interview and column.
Yeah.
So there I can interview.
Yeah.
Extremely well informed. There is no problem at all. I wonder why you missed the bus last time. How many marks did you get?
Because that last time.
173 in interview, so last year.
Marks, sir.
Optional, I lost my marks on mains. Anthropology.
Oh, I see.
So,
So
the
when
cumulative was just above the cutoff, is it? Mains was just above the cutoff,
Yes,
probably.
9 marks more than the mains cutoff.
Much in spite of you scoring good in the interview.
Yes.
That's what we find. You are articulating so well.
So
And,
difference is almost 206 marks for the cutoff and the selection. So she got 173 plus 6, 9. 9. So she lost by 8 points.
Anyway, I'm sure you'll make it this time. You defended yourself very well. I find nothing wrong with you at all. And therefore, I think you will make it this time. But anyway, others will try to find some suggestions for improvement.
yeah. Nidhi, avoid saying okay. Instead, say thank you, sir.
Yes. Okay.
when you were corrected. When you were corrected on certain factual things and other things, you said okay. Or whether you're falling short of some information and all that. When it was given by the member, then you said okay. So please don't do that. You should rather thank the member,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. Then on couple of issues you defended very well. The controversy, of course, sir will tell you, science versus religion and all that. And also, but slightly, I think on your own subject, you have got to be little more contemporary. You must have done very well, academically, theoretically, and all that in
Yes.
your paper 1 and paper 2. But you see, after all, this kind of an exam requires that transfer of that knowledge to the things that are happening around you. The marriage between the static and dynamic,
Yes.
right? So you have to bring in your anthropology knowledge to what is happening around you in terms of, say, government initiatives, programs, policies, and stuff like that.
Yes, sir.
So that was a bit of a disappointment when you could not recall this SEED program.
Yes, sir.
SEED stands for, Scheme for Economic Empowerment of Denotified Tribes.
Okay, sir.
Huh?
Yes.
So be contemporary,
Yes.
right? For scoring marks, it is fine. That phase is over now.
So you start saying thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Right? That phase is over now. Scoring marks is over now.
Yes.
That some academician would have given you some marks and all that. But how you transfer that knowledge and apply? After all, you are going to be a public servant. You day in and day out, you have to apply your knowledge to the challenges that you face on the ground, right? So be aware of various schemes, 1 of 70 Act, and the vulnerable tribes. Who are they in your state, etc., etc. These things. You have to be up to date, and someone might as well ask you what are the specific initiatives of Telangana government, or now since you have to read about your Karnataka also, right? So you have got a greater task before you. So be aware of that, and then also you have to be, as I told you, very contemporary. The day's newspaper is a must. At least a week before interview, you have to be reading carefully, the events.
Yes.
Right? You could not recollect, tourism day theme and all that. So something related to that might figure in the interview.
Yes.
If it is someday, and I think February 14th, Valentine. So there are going to be lots of questions, and all the more being a woman and all that. All right, moral policing, this, that, then choice of, whether two adults go out, what is the problem, can police intervene, all kinds of questions will come, right? I won't be surprised even love jihad, issues like love jihad. Okay, be prepared.
Yes.
That's a very, very critical day for more like, particularly for women, right? Then Oxfam report also you should have mentioned when we talked about sexual harassment at workplaces. Oxfam India report. They gave a lot of suggestions as to how workplaces can be made safer for women. And the internal complaints committee, you came to it when I probed further, which should have come naturally as part of your response. Okay, so this kind of an alertness is required to be able to recall all the related issues and facts as part of your response. Okay, but otherwise your relation is very well, and some of these mannerisms like saying okay, fine, not like that. Okay, but otherwise you are very good, and it's a proof that last year you scored 170. So I see no reason why you can't score or improve your score this time. Much depends on how much you scored at the interview level, but we really don't see any problem in your coming out with flying colors this time. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
You are very confident in giving replies. Actually, me and Satyanan also, we gave some controversial issues. Our intention is that no one can give a proper answer, but how you handle the situation, we wanted to make you to speak and give your line of argument, and this side, that side. In your case, we have given both the sides. There is no settled argument for that. So whatever side you take, you justify it. Whatever may be the provocation. So 2-3 issues I raised the issue like level of scientific temper. So if we say that level of scientific temper is very good, then I will go to the another side. That I will say that what about the construction of temples and whether the blind belief and dogma politicians are giving more emphasis to that in the name of Hinduism or something.
Yes.
So that is, everyone knows it. There is no solution for that. That's why both the sides it can handle. Similarly, collegium. Collegium is again law ministers has his own version, and the Supreme Court has its own version. So there is no proper solution for that. Both are right, both are wrong.
Yes.
So our intention is to make you to speak
Yes.
and take your line of argument. Okay, good luck.
Thank you, sir.
I think as far as your articulation and your tone, I think all of them are good. Being a debater and having participated, I think
She's
all
a
that
debater.
is good, But I feel, current affairs you need to brush
Yeah,
up
that's
because
what I also felt.
all that I asked was only in the last 1-2 months. This Rahul Gandhi, the Bharat Jodo is something which is ongoing. I think you look at it in various spheres, political, is it correcting in the youth, nationalism, what kind of impact, and what is the purpose? You see, looking at 2024 election, reviving Congress, projecting himself as a prime ministerial candidate, what are the intentions behind? I think we can read up on that. And then Padayatra is not very new. We had Y.S. Rajshekar Reddy, who walked and successfully won an election and became CM. Then Chandrababu Naidu walked. Then Jagan Mohan walked a record 3,400 kilometers and became CM. Now his sister is walking in Telangana. Then earlier Chandrasekhar, Prime Minister, he walked from Kanyakumari. So there are different kinds of Padayatras that have been undertaken. So you can look in the current context, and I think especially in Telangana and UP, many people are walking. So have to be
Lokesh is
yeah,
embarking on 4,200 kilometers.
So that is one.
400 days.
400 more than 1 year.
More than a year.
So I think you can look at it. Second, as this space sector, you being from Hyderabad, I think there are a lot of things that are happening or being talked about Hyderabad. I think you should know that Skyroot Aerospace is the biggest in space sector. They had this Vikram launcher, the first private company to do it, and they raised around $400 million, which is the highest for a space startup. And space business is not very risky. It requires a lot of money, and the players are Amazon, Jeff Bezos, Virgin Galactic, and the other person is Elon Musk. So big money. But here you have this Skyroot Aerospace, Dhruva, getting into field and doing well. So you can look at this challenges they are taking and how it is shaping up India's space policy and all. And Hyderabad seems to be a place where they are operating and doing it. Okay. And then this heartfulness also, I think the Ramchandra mission built the world's largest meditation hall. It's called Kanha Shanti One. 1 lakh people can meditate at a single move. So these are all big things in Hyderabad, and then Amazon launched their first air cargo service from Hyderabad last week, no, 2 days ago. So a lot of things are happening, and I think we should be quite aware of what's going on here. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Nidhi, so just I touched your state, some issues on political side. So there are many issues in Karnataka state. Because you wrote that you belong to Karnataka state, normally attention goes to Karnataka rather than AP, I mean Telangana. So you must pay attention towards those issues. And of course, we don't know which issue they are going to raise. So be aware of those things. Other aspects is about the that apart from this cash transfer, I asked you to give some issues. There are general. But as far as the Karnataka state is concerned, one important issue is the divisive terminal environment. Reserve and all these things, that is the area.
Yes.
So that is one important area which you should not lose sight of. Okay. Then another thing is corruption. So when I talked about 1%, then you came.
Yes.
But you must also focus on this important thing. Other aspect is about the demonetization aspect, where you have battled for the government. Or in the 4 members, the way how they gave the judgment, people are not happy. And she became the hero.
Yes.
I purposefully brought this because you belong to that state. And you must be proud of that lady giving such a decent judgment, which I think is the best one, and that goes very well with what a bureaucrat should stand for. So from that aspect, I have taken this. And she talked about what is independence. Now, independence is not in words, it is the way how you are going to show yourself. It is in fact is clapping on the face of the 4 judges. That's an excellent judgment in my view. Okay, being a woman, you must also feel proud that such a judgment is given by more members. Then the GST said that, of course, these are all, it's a very old topic and it's implemented, but it's not fully implemented so far. For example, the GST appellate tribunal is not yet started. See, when a new system is being implemented, you are going to anticipate some challenges. The challenges has to be addressed, but this was not yet started. And now the people are now forced to go to the high courts. That's now our matter. So tribunals are very, very important. Yeah. Then coming to the surname and the thing, it is to see that whether you are going to bring anything which is to be more progressive. So you are sticking to that, no, I want to keep my surname. Now that, why this question is asked? Not that people are going to drop their surnames. People are more fond of keeping their surnames or caste names. That is their will and wish, we don't know. But when we are in a situation where we want to become role models, I think it's better we drop these things. For example, if we got one important personality like Kochal personality, actually belongs to a particular caste, but you dropped it. And there are so many people, reformers, that drop the caste names from their own names. Thereby, they want to bring that type of inclusiveness. When you are having this type of caste, you are excluding yourselves from other things. So the administrative angle is to bring inclusiveness. And suppose if you say that I belong to a caste, normally other caste people, they think that, okay, justice may not be done. So it's high time from anthropological or any part of view. I think there should be a thought process that the names should be secular, not having the smell of caste and surnames like that. Other aspect about the essay, why particular aspect is that there is a particular purpose why this was reintroduced. There was a committee by Satish Chandra, and Satish Chandra recommended that certain traits are missing in the present bureaucrats, and they want to bring those traits. He listed 6. Okay, so aware of these things. That will be because you wrote an essay. Normally, we may ask such questions also. So these are a few aspects which I'm going to add to your thinking process. Take care of and think about those things.
Yes.
I think this time we want to see you in civil services. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Feedback. At the end of which, is there anything you want to ask us?
No, sir.
All the best. Then.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.